No, look, there's I always say I respect Terence Crawford. He's a very talented fighter, but he just win one big fight. If you see his record, he just beat one good fighter like Errol Spence is.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't think he's beating other great fighter like Spence. He did a really good job with the Spence. He did like almost look very easy.
But I'm gonna go with Canelo because he didn't hold Turkey's hand.
It's two things that you can do with somebody bigger and stronger. You know, you can either try to push them back, you know, because 9 times out of 10, a strong fighter not used to going back.
Canelo Alvarez reacts to Terence Crawford's knockouts with respect, acknowledging his skills. He admits Crawford did an excellent job against Errol Spence, making the win look surprisingly easy. However, Alvarez also points out that Spence is the only truly big-name Crawford has defeated, questioning the rest of his record. Looking forward, Canelo says everyone will see the truth when they meet in the ring, leaving fans eager for answers.
Are you tired of people asking you about Terence yet?
No, look, I always say I respect Terence Crawford. He's a very talented fighter, but he just win one big fight. If you see his record, he just beat one good fighter like Errol Spence is.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't think he's beating other great fighter like Spence. He did a really good job with the Spence. He did like almost look very easy. But I knew Terence Crawford is a great fighter. But you never know in boxing.
Canelo hints that he already understands Crawford's style and techniques, showing confidence in his preparation. With a smile, he adds that Turki Alalshik will be very upset on fight night since he'll be in Crawford's corner, making the matchup even more intense and personal.
You're gonna be able to do about it come fight night.
I know Turki is in your corner,
I promise you.
but look, it's gonna be very difficult. He's gonna be so mad that day. Believe me.
I see you. I see you. You see I'm different.
I see you too.
Canelo's decision to bring in Jaron Ennis for sparring is being viewed as a smart move. Johnny Ortiz explains that Ennis is the closest match to Terence Crawford's body type and fighting style, making him the perfect training partner. This gives Canelo the chance to study Crawford's rhythm, movement, and physical advantages in real time, while sharpening his own timing and defense. At the same time, Ennis gains priceless experience by working with a veteran like Canelo, which also helps his development. Ortiz calls it a rare situation where both boxers improve, making the setup highly strategic.
Makes sense, and it's definitely a good experience for both. Eddie Reynoso and Canelo, shout out to them because now it shows that they serious with a real game plan, and Boots is, to me, everybody's a perfect opponent. I wouldn't say opponent, perfect sparring partner to have to replicate Crawford because they both switch hitters and stuff like that, and they got dog in them and reflexes for sure. So it shows Canelo serious, and on Boots end, to be able to spar a Hall of Famer, top tier guy, it gave him great experience, and you could tell he really wants it. It's a sport where Boots is getting an opportunity to spar a Hall of Famer. Who cares? And in reality, what the fuck loyalty does Boots owe to Crawford when it comes to the sport of boxing? I mean, Crawford didn't do shit even back while Boots was trying to get his opportunity when it was Spencer Crawford. Every time Boots' name got mentioned, you heard the Bud Clowns be like, oh yeah, he don't deserve it. Oh, who did he fight? Oh, who this and that, man. I ain't trying to hear that shit. It's like it's different shit that you need to be woke up outside of boxing. Boxing is a sport. There's shit that we need to really come together. I didn't see y'all come together like 5 years. The Bud Clowns, because it's real fans, the Bud Clowns is bashing PBC. Everything Boots, when you bring up Boots' name, putting him down, I didn't hear like, oh yeah, instead of fighting Canelo or fighting this person, he should fight Boots.
Jose Benavidez highlights the value of Canelo's choice in bringing Jaron Boots Ennis as a sparring partner. He points out that Ennis mirrors Crawford in key ways: physique, movement, and style. Training with someone so similar allows Canelo to mentally prepare for what's coming on fight night. Benavidez also argues that Crawford's smaller size compared to Canelo will matter in the ring. For him, working with a strong, stylistically comparable partner not only boosts Canelo's confidence but also makes him feel he already has the advantage before the first bell.
To give Canelo maybe a little bit more confidence that he is sparring somebody really good, and this is a really good fighter, and I think that would be a good motivation, you know, for Canelo Alvarez. I just think that Crawford is too small for Canelo. I think Canelo's too big for Crawford, but in my opinion, I think if Crawford could maybe just tap, get out, tap, hook, get out, maybe once in a while throw a straight punch and just win by points and use his legs, I think I see him winning by decision. But if he tries to exchange with Canelo Alvarez, I think he's gonna make a mistake and he's gonna get hit with one shot and maybe he can get hurt, and that would change the whole fight, you know. But I think he's faster. Crawford is faster, and a straight punch, get out, you know. Don't stay there to throw or try to trade with Canelo Alvarez.
Okay, fair to say. Fair to say. Now, do you feel like when it comes down to the demeanor of making that decision of bringing it in, does it show that he's taking this camp perhaps a little bit more serious than others? I mean, what do you think about just the move per se?
You know, it's very difficult to say. He's never brought anybody really good to his camp until this time. Maybe he's lacking enough confidence, or maybe he just wants to use them to trick the people, or, I mean, it's very awkward and very funny that he brought Ennis to his camp, you know. So, but at the end of the day, they know what they're doing, you know, and we got to respect that. And I think
the global demand for boxing has shifted into a new era, with streaming services now breaking records for live events. The Netflix fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson drew an astonishing 65 million viewers, becoming the biggest fight in audience numbers. That event proved the appetite for combat sports is far beyond traditional expectations. Now, the upcoming clash between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford carries the weight of potentially surpassing that milestone. This fight isn't just about two men in the ring, it's about history on a global scale. Fans across continents are waiting to see if it can create even more excitement than the Jake versus Mike spectacle.
Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, which was obviously on Netflix as well, the biggest concurrent view was, I think, 65 million. So at one stage of a time, 65 million people were watching that fight, which is crazy, hence why it broke Netflix servers. I do wonder what this does. I think it does around 10 to 15, which is still an incredible number. The problem with these two, and I was saying this morning actually to Gareth A. Davis, like, there's no antagonizer here, is there? No one is willing to play the role of the bad guy, the heel, the bully. And you almost need that a little bit. Jake Paul was actually quite smart in the way in which he promoted the Tyson fight. Obviously, look, it's Mike Tyson, but it was promoted so well where Jake was willing to be the guy that, I'm gonna fuck up the greatest fighter of all time. You know, he was willing to kind of say all those things and play that role. So people almost tuned in to see him get chinned as well. Neither of these guys are playing that role. Neither of these guys, I don't think, have crossed over massively to non-boxing fans. I mean, to us, they're like gods, but to non-boxing fans, I do wonder how much people...
Terence Crawford has never been one to back down from challenges, and his preparation for Canelo reflects that. He acknowledges the difficulties of fighting bigger opponents but insists there are solutions. The first is to push larger fighters backward, something they usually dislike since their size and strength allow them to control the pace moving forward.
There's two things that you can do with somebody bigger and stronger. You know, you can either try to push them back, you know, because 9 times out of 10, a strong fighter not used to going back, you know, so it kind of fucks them up in the head, you know.
Yeah.
Or you can just box them because some of them just slower than others because they got flat feet, and they just looking to load up on certain shots.
Now, Crawford's definitely right here. There's two ways to beat a pressure fighter like Canelo. Either you put the pressure back on him, which is where guys like Triple G and Bivol had success, or you use your superior skills and footwork on the outside, which is how Floyd Mayweather won. Now, Crawford, he can't use the pressure approach because he's not as physically dominant as guys like Golovkin or Bivol. You know, Bud is a welterweight or junior middleweight jumping up. He doesn't have the size to push Canelo back. Now, the outside boxing approach, that is definitely Crawford's best chance against Canelo.
Breaking their rhythm is key. The second strategy is draining their stamina and exploiting flat-footedness, a common weakness in naturally heavier fighters. Crawford's understanding of these tactics shows his high boxing IQ. He knows victory requires more than toughness, it demands turning disadvantages into strengths. His camp has been built around these principles, sharpening both conditioning and strategy for the biggest challenge of his career.
He struggled to cut off the ring at times. We saw that in the Skull fight, and he does load up on single shots now. But at the same time, Crawford is not the same pure boxer that Floyd Mayweather was. Mayweather rarely got hit in that shell, and his form of countering, a pull counter for example, was, I'm not going to get touched and then I'll make you pay. Whereas Crawford's style of counterpunching is different. Bud'll take one to throw 2 or 3 back, and he can't do that against Canelo because of the size and power difference. If Bud takes a clean right hand to throw back an uppercut or a hook, he's either going to get dropped or he's going to end up on his bike like Jermell Charlo. So while I do agree Crawford does have the superior skill set in this fight, but because he doesn't have the size to push Canelo back, or the defense of someone like Mayweather to stay perfect for 12 rounds on the outside, I do think Canelo's size and power will make the difference in this fight, and that's why I like Canelo to win.
While much of the build-up centers on rivalry, Crawford has expressed admiration for Canelo's place in boxing history. He openly respects Alvarez as one of the last fighters from a golden era. Canelo shared the stage with legends, something Crawford sees as rare. For him, fighting Canelo isn't only about belts or records, it's about testing himself against a man who has carried boxing's torch. By framing it this way, Crawford adds depth to the storyline.